Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Digital Davos 2023. This is my pleasure to introduce this next panel. This panel will focus on Africa and African Americans and the role of digital innovation in changing and uplifting these economies. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lance. And Dr. Lance, if you would please take it from here.
Great, thanks. My name is Dr. Lance McCarthy. I'm an economist. I have done extensive research in the area of Africa and African Americans. We believe that the third world countries and urban America have the same problems and the same solutions. And today we have a panel of experts in this arena that can share some of their expertise and their solutions in reference to doing this. By way of training, I've been able to advise two former presidents. I've written a book on Wall Street to the Hood, which talks about urban America and Africa. I've also done a TED Talk in reference to African American technology. So today we really want to talk about how we bridge the gap, how we look at fintech solutions to be able to move the agenda forward. So I want to introduce some of our panelists that have expertise in this area. The first person I see is Vincent Berry. Vincent, give us a quick introduction on who you are and what you do in the fintech space in reference to Africa.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. How are you, sir? My name is Vincent Berry. I am from Detroit, Michigan, here in the United States. I am a Grammy Award-winning songwriter and producer. Also went to Morehouse College, studied business administration, specifically in accounting. I currently sit on an advisory board for the African Export-Import Bank, specifically focused around the Creative African Advisory Group, as well as the Intra-African Trade Initiative. The Creative African Advisory Group manages about $1 billion, investing in the creative African industries, music, TV, film, art, fashion. Really excited about that opportunity. Fintech is booming right now in Africa. About just 10% of all the transactions that are done in Africa right now are done digitally, which means there's a transformation that's happening right now. And so there's a lot of investment, and it's important for the diaspora and the rest of the world to be a part of it.
Great. Thanks, Vincent. We'll come back to you and ask some specific questions. Next up on this great panel, I think I see, is that Davos? I don't see the picture.
Victor and Bright.
Okay, Bright. Let's bring Bright, who has the only digital cryptocurrency on the continent of Africa. Please introduce yourself, Bright.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me in this great panel. I am Brighton Abilili, the CEO of the first Pan-African blockchain currency, although coin. It's a pleasure to be here today. Our focus is cross-border payment, merchant settlements. After 5 years, we've been in this space. Our blockchain just celebrate 5 years. Our goal is to use blockchain technology to make money easier for our people, and not just our people across the continent. Because when you look at the continent of Africa, all the currencies in Africa are weak currencies. So when you leave Africa, the money dies with you. Either you're on board through dollars, through pounds, or through euro. So there's a quest for this alternative. And our third alternative is crypto. And when you look at the world today, only 4% of the world interact with blockchain. So the space is new. Anyone can dominate that space. And I say, why not us? That's what brought me to this space. Thank you.
Thank you, Bright. We'll come back to you for some questions. Next up is a great guy, great friend of mine. Victor Lombard goes by the name of Divine. Has a great platform for ex-felons. Victor, introduce yourself and tell them what you do.
My name is Victor D. Lombard, professionally known as Divine. I'm the CEO and founder of Salient. Salient is the world's first super neobank and financial empowerment platform for the system impacted, specifically the formerly incarcerated. I've been in the fintech space for the last 8 years. I originally came from the music space. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me, Dr. Lance.
Great. And a great female. They actually, Forbes magazine calls her the female Steve Jobs. I've seen her grow her company to a $1.5 billion valuation and really bringing information and technology and finance to the masses. Introduce to you all Miss Angel Rich.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. It is always an honor for me to be here and be amongst you. We are so excited to be gearing up to actually launch Credit Rich next month. Credit Rich is an app in partnership with Experian and Visa that rounds up users' spare change to pay your bills intelligently and optimize your credit score. We are proud to be the first Black company to partner with a credit bureau, as well as we are the first Black female-owned neobank. So we are really excited to launch our app on Google Play and iOS, as well as our Credit Rich Visa signature debit cards next month.
Great, great. Thanks, Angel. We've been running around the country for the last 8 years, assisting people with this platform, and glad to have you. Okay, so panelists, we want to talk today about certain issues of how we look at solutions for Africa and African Americans. The first question is, how do we use fintech to empower urban America for African Americans and for the continent of Africa? How do we use the fintech platform to move this agenda forward? Let's go back to Vincent Barry.
I'm sorry, sir. Thank you. Like I mentioned, there's a massive boom happening in Africa, particularly around technology and fintech. We see what's happening in Kenya as a hub for technologists. I work and partner with a major venture capital firm in Nigeria, really across the continent of Africa. They've built the global blockchain center of excellence in Kenya. They've launched about 300 or more technologists that they've taught how to code. And this is Africans, and they're building some powerful stuff. Again, only 10%. And again, I work on the board of the African Export and Import Bank. Only 10% of transactions across the continent of Africa are done digitally. This is a place where everything is done through our phones. You got a population boom that's happening in 2030. They're talking about a doubling of the population on the continent of Africa across all of the countries. And these are people who will have phones, millennials. 70% of the continent is under 15 years old. I mean, You're talking about the future, right? And this antiquated system that's kept our people in a position where we haven't been able to move and participate in the growth of different industries and markets. We have an opportunity right now to be a part of the development, to be a part of the vision and the dreams and the strategy developing this technology. Bright, I really celebrate you, brother, for what you've built. It takes that kind of initiative to be on the front. Angel as well, a dear friend of mine. You have to have that kind of thinking. And in my mind, I take a trip to Kigali, Rwanda, which is one of the most beautiful cities on the planet, one of the cleanest cities I've ever seen in my life. And while I'm in Kigali, Rwanda, I'm at a conference called the Intra-African Trade Fair, and it's, 15,000 people or so. And I listened to them say that they're doing a trade fair, and we're doing $32.6 billion in deals in 7 days. And in my mind, man, I'm the only African-American in this room, and so my vision, Victor, Angel, Unc, is to go back to where I came from and be a light and a beacon to young people, old people, millennials who are trying to find their market, trying to find their space, trying to find where their business will connect. And technology is the new frontier. So why wouldn't you be a part of it when we've watched billionaires rise and fall in the drop of a dime overnight through cryptocurrency and Web3 and blockchain? Why wouldn't you be a part of it? Why wouldn't you want to be a designer of, if you've missed the YouTube, you might be able to get the Google, you might be able to get the Web3 world, right? You might not get Yahoo, but you can go get something else. In my mind, we have an opportunity to be on the front end of what technology looks like for our people, particularly, as Bright said, how we access money and how we move money around. And for me, this is the beginning. If I can help to point people to where there will be $44 billion in deals this year in 7 days in October in Cote d'Ivoire, they're looking for your technology. Angel, we've built a payment settlement system right across the continent. I'm sure there's collaboration. In my mind, if we don't know this exists, then we'll never find those people that look like us that's trying to do billion and doing $1 billion deals every single day. So my mind is to create awareness and exposure apparatus, whether it's through mouth to mouth or word of mouth rather, or whether it's through technology, social media, platforms, influencers. I've worked with some of the biggest artists in the world. And most times, I'm sure you know this, Victor, people assume you just do music and you got a whole lot more in you than just music, right? We're not just creative. So when you have an opportunity, even in those sessions, I'm yelling and screaming, let's go to Africa, guys, let's go to Africa. So I say the same thing here today. I think there's more opportunity we can ever imagine, Unc, and I'll say it again here, man, let's go to Africa.
I appreciate that, Brother Vincent. Next up, Bright, the same question. How can we use fintech to empower Africa and African Americans?
Before we can, a lot of people just stay very new to the word fintech. For the purpose of clarity, fintech means financial technology. How do we use technology to enable money? That's what fintech is all about. But the word fintech doesn't exist without blockchain. And blockchain is that technology, that ecosystem that allows that financial technology to move around the world today. But before I go into blockchain, I just want to talk about quick things that connect everyone together. Money. What is money? Money is a representation of value. And over times and decades and years, these values have changed in different models, either it's through commodity like gold or paper money, which we all know as fiat money, which is controlled by the government, or your paper checks, commercial bank money, CDOs, collaterals, loans. And in the new eras, we're talking now about technology, talking about cryptocurrency. That means we're in a new paradigm. And that paradigm is almost 4% of the world population right now interacting with blockchain. 4%. Currently in the cryptocurrency market cap is $999 billion. And our people are not present in that market space. My goal, what brought me into the space, was that quest for alternative, global equalizer. Because when you look around today, 200 billion fake currencies circulate worldwide. 200 billion. In the United States alone, 200 million counterfeit currencies. That's enough to just cripple any economy around the world today, especially in Africa. So that means blockchain helps in counterfeiting. It prevents counterfeiting, no double spending, purely irrefutable, immutable transactions. We're looking for new trust economy, something that we can hold accountable. And blockchain gives us that playing field. When I look around the crypto space 10 years ago, our people did not participate. Either they didn't have the financial literacy or nobody was there to guide them. It was kind of complex. They want to mine Bitcoin, but Bitcoin was kind of very complex. So our goal was to find a solution that doesn't require any high electricity, that doesn't require complex software. And that's what Oduacoin was all about. Because when we look around Africa today, just to send money from Ghana to Nigeria, it's not possible. You have to convert to dollar, or you have within the African continent, 54 nations. There's no one system that allows them to do cross-border payments. And cryptocurrency give you that borderless payment. It allows merchant settlements. And when you look around Africa, remittance alone is over $40 billion a year on remittance, over 4%. But blockchain allows you to eliminate that transaction fees. So there's that quest, there's that demand. For Africa, it's not a competition, it's a solution. Blockchain is a solution. And people talk about this blockchain, they don't understand. Blockchain is a technology that underpins cryptocurrency. It's purely irrefutable. It's an open source code blockchain project. So when you're talking about money, we're in the new type of money right now. And this money is not going anywhere. And when you look around America today, 90% of the banks in Europe, Canada, and America are already exploiting blockchain. So for Africa, it's a global equalizer. But capitalisms are built on the private sectors and not on the public sectors. So we are telling the government to enable the citizens to engage with blockchain because they're playing field. Only 4% of the world populations are engaging on blockchain. So that means the space is new. Anyone can dominate the space. My oldest question is, why not us? That is the reason we created the first Pan-African blockchain currency today that allows us to hold ourselves accountable. Because when you look at the space, whether it's Bitcoin, most of us were not present when Bitcoin was 20 cents. Most of us not present when Ethereum was 5 cents. We never understand it because we spend 90% of our time imagining things rather than doing things. So I'm inviting everyone to the playing field. Come today, all do our blockchain solutions, give it the same opportunity like Bitcoin, like Ethereum. The blockchain is an open source code. It's purely no hierarchy, self-governance. If you want to mine any cryptocurrency today, just like Ethereum, it's a proof of stake. In Africa, they don't have that energy, electricity to mine Bitcoin. So they're looking for a better platform to mine cryptocurrency. And we're engaging on proof of stake. Just require the amount of energy to send email and text message. That's the same amount of energy to mine Odua. So I'm telling everyone today, we're doing this for the culture. Odua blockchain is bringing our people together, bringing trust back to the people. For us, it's all about implementation. It's not about talking. We've been 5 years in this game, and we're telling people right now, we just get started. So join us today, and let's celebrate these new revolutions. I call it the Pan-African Economic Revolution. That's what Odua can represent. And if you don't know about it, go search it out there, and it's the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Bright. We appreciate you and look forward to continue to work with you both here in America and Africa. Next up is Victor Lavore Divine. You have a specific area that you are working on, Victor. Those that have been incarcerated and assisting them into the financial world. Tell how fintech can help the ex-felons both in Africa and in America.
Oh yeah, thank you. I think this echoes exactly what Bright and Vincent was saying earlier. Especially Vincent when he opened up about the awareness, right? We've never had that awareness, and the technology has been there, right? The fintech space has been there, but we haven't had that participation, like Brother Bright was saying. We haven't had that access. So my personal life story is being somebody with an 8th grade formal education, a decade of incarceration, and no tech background. I still was able to break into one of the highest levels of Silicon Valley venture capital. And technology is what empowered me to really say, how can I use this as a revolutionary tool, right? Not just a solution, but a revolutionary tool to really empower our people, whether domestically or internationally. We have never had this type of access to technology. We have never had this type of awareness about technology. A few of us had, but not in mass, right? And now you see that critical mass taking place to where people, both domestically and internationally, Black people specifically, are really coming into their own. I've witnessed over the last 8 years, after getting into technology and the venture capital space, at least 10 people in my personal circle who have became millionaires and multimillionaires have went on to build almost billion-dollar companies at this point. So the power is there as a power-based technology. Specifically talking about financial technology, where technology empowers money or enables the transfer of money. It's unprecedented this time right now, to where we're seeing so much happening. When have you seen a Black woman partner with a company like Experian, right? Angel has done this, and I know Angel from the past. Me and her were in a cohort in 2016 when I was building my first fintech company. So I've seen the growth and development and how it's empowered each of us to really go to that next level and continue to go to the next level. With Salient as a solution, is really a system. It's a system for systems change. And that's how we look at that, right? How do we use that as a system for systems change and disrupt, or actually not only disrupt, but eradicate a system that has never really worked for us, right? Whether in society or in technology. And I think we're seeing a lot of that taking place now. And I'm blessed to be at the forefront of what I'm doing for those who are system impacted, specifically formerly incarcerated.
Thanks, Divine. We appreciate it. Next up, again, a great colleague of mine who's really shown how the masses can understand fintech. Angel, give us a idea of how you've done it and how you can assist both Africa and African Americans in the fintech space.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lance. I feel as though my whole company has had sort of an ongoing relationship with Africa, starting with when I conducted the African American Financial Experience Study at Prudential. Shortly after that, I visited Africa and decided to quit my job after meeting a little boy in a Wharton t-shirt while I was in Kenya. And it occurred to me while I was there that they had smartphones, as well as they was working on a product to try to make vision better with glasses with smartphones. And I said, hold up, if you all can focus on vision with smartphones, then that means that you can focus on financial literacy and making more money, and we can revolutionize this entire continent. And that's where the initial sort of light bulb for me to start down this path even started. Fast forward back to around the time that Devon and I were connecting, 2016, 2017. One particular morning, we walked down the streets of Wall Street to 3 a.m. in the morning, discussing how we could potentially help the Black community and help Africa and things of that nature. And so now then also in 2018, I went to the Inter-Africa Trade Fair in Egypt. And so I got to see and meet a lot of people firsthand and understand the different bureaucracies that they were dealing with, as well as the different mass amount of opportunity. And I think a lot of people don't realize that half of the continent is under the age of 30, and they are just now experiencing credit for the first time, much like America in the 60s. So my ultimate goal and vision with Africa is to prevent the debt and the financial crises that we have received in America as a result of the lack of financial education that was provided to us, along with issuing out these loans and credit cards and different type of debt vehicles. So at Credit Rich, we help people to actually leverage our debit card as well as our app to be able to round up their change and be able to put that towards paying their bills in an intelligent way that helps them improve their credit score. And so right now we are actually in the midst of expanding to the Caribbean and Latin America. And then from there, we plan to expand to Africa as well. So that is definitely a major intention of ours. Visa is everywhere that you want to be. So obviously it's all over Africa. And Visa has been the best partner that I've ever had. I think that they are at the forefront of what it means to actually work in diversity and not be a charity case, if you will, but an actual real strategic partner. So I think that the vision that we have, we will actually be able to accomplish it with Africa. And last but not least, I think empowering the youth at a young age to understand credit, to understand these financial vehicles will set them up for unprecedented generational wealth that has not been seen in Africa in a very long time.
Great. Thanks, Angel. We appreciate it. You're always at the forefront, and this whole panel is experts in the fintech arena. We have one more panelist who's joined us, Diggy. She has a background in the fintech arena. Can you introduce yourself and give us an idea of how fintech can help both Africa and African Americans?
Yeah, so yeah, you call me Didi. So I have 20 years of technology consulting, startup founder, angel investor. So I worked around fintech probably for the past 8 years or so, starting with the mobile payment space, mobile wallet, and all those things. So I guess my view is, and obviously it's about lowering the cost of transaction. I think everybody in this panel knows about that. But I think fundamentally, the same way in the African countries, they leapfrogged, the landline telephone infrastructure and went straight to cellular wireless. I think that same thing would happen where we, instead of going through a whole entire cycle of building a traditional banking or insurance infrastructure, there's an opportunity to essentially go straight into DeFi, decentralized finance. And so I think that's probably a big shift that would happen. And overall, that comes along with all these other use cases around DeFi that's going to help move money faster, democratize access to money, like lifting out of poverty millions of people.
Great, thank you. Thank you. This has been an awesome panel. We just have a couple of minutes left before we wrap up. I would like each panelist to just give a 30-second, 1 minute overview of what you believe that, again, fintech can be the equalizer for both Africa and African Americans. Let's start again with Vincent.
I think Vincent is muted.
I'm so sorry. Again, really quickly, I thank you again, Dr. Lance, for this opportunity, and really a pleasure to be here with each and every one of you. Fintech is the future. Technology is the future. Blockchain is the future. without a question. Our intra-African trade fairs happen November 21st through the 27th. We have an entire section built around fintech. We're doing $44 billion in deals. And I mean, I think I want to talk to you as well, Bright, about this cross-border payment system. We've built that as well, not based in blockchain, so I believe there's correlation, but fintech is the space for us. How do we keep our money? All of the resources that are made from phones, from computers, all of that stuff is in the ground in Africa. How do we keep the money here, the resources here, and actually empower each other from the continent? And fintech, blockchain is the way to get into it. And there's so many resources to learn. I just want to be a beacon to tell you, spend the time, get involved.
Thanks, Brother Vincent. Next up, Bright, final words.
Yes, let me just hop in there real quick, Dr. Lance, because I gotta hop.
Okay.
Couldn't agree more, Vincent. I would say that payments are the future, as well as you guys were discussing earlier. The cross-border payments is definitely something that we're going to be focused on. And the more that we're able to collaborate and share funds with each other and break down those myths of not talking to each other about money, the more we'll be able to grow. Thank you all so much for being able to have me today. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thanks, Angel.
Well, I'm just going to time it quickly. Blockchain is doing to transactions what internet did to telecommunication. Data is the new money. When it comes to Africa today, we focus more on fungible transactions, cross-border payments. For me, in the fintech space, I focus more on fungible transactions. Something that will help us better store value against inflations, no double spending, no counterfeiting, no human interference. And that's what blockchain and fintech can do for us. And for me, I feel like we should have an applications that takes the continent forward. And that's where I focus on just on applications, because change is something that is constant in life. But we must find the right tools and software to promote that change. And I think blockchain is one of them. For Africa, it's not a competition, it's a solution. I call it the global equalizer. For we at DualCoin, we call it the genesis of Pan-African economic revolution. So I want to thank all the great minds in this forum today. Let's start looking at applications that help us empower our community. Let's start looking at things that we can hold ourselves accountable. Let's start looking at things that promotes our culture. For us in DualCoin, it's all about the culture, about the people, 1.4 billion people in Africa. There's no one single blockchain cryptocurrency that's on our forefront. And that's what DualCoin represent. Thank you.
Thanks, Bright. Victor.
Yes, quickly, everything has an equalizer. And I feel that for Africans and African Americans, fintech is a great equalizer, especially when it comes to financial empowerment and wealth building. And I think we can only become better in time with the right awareness, the access to opportunity, the mentorship, the frameworks, and the pathways. Thank you again for having me, Dr. Lance.
Thanks, Victor. And Didi.
Yeah, I would go quick. So I think I echo everything that the panelists have talked about. I think one emphasis, let's go with obviously the adoption, but also let's make sure that there's security, because a lot of these smart contracts that we've seen have a lot of bugs, and there's been a lot of exploitations of the code to steal tokens and all those things. So let's put an emphasis on security and better coding to make sure that everyone is able to participate and not feeling threatened by hackers, all those things. Yeah.
Great. I'd like to thank the panel. We have future things to work together on a collective agenda. Again, my name is Dr. Lance McCarthy. We brought you the panel on Africa and African Americans, fintech, the solution for economic sustainability and economic growth. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Lance. Thank you.